everybody. Hey, Marvell, how you doing? You doing all right? You still enjoying your birthday? I saw you had a good one. That's my phone backtrack here. I'm trying to wait. I got a question I want to ask some people, and I really do want to see am I the only one who think this way. If I can get enough people in here, I got a good topic for today. Let's see here. I need to stop trying to do this while I'm driving. Let's see. Get about 4 more, and then I'm gonna start talking about it. I want to know because somebody debated me, and they said they was talking about children, and they said that they think that with what's all that's going on in the world, that the churches should do more to reach out to families. I need to pull over and do this. And I told them that it starts in their house, how they treat their children. And of course they didn't agree with that. I'm gonna pull over and see can I do this right here, so I won't get in the wreck or nothing. But I want to know if I'm wrong. I stand to be corrected. But let's see here. I might not get much feedback with that topic, but I still say that it starts in your home, and we shouldn't expect. Hey, Miss Nova Mickens, I don't know if you heard the question or not, but I do. I need feedback because I want to know. I was in a conversation. Hey, Portia, you agree with me? Okay, good. The topic was, the question came up when I was having a conversation with somebody, and they said that they think that the churches should do more than what they're doing to help young people, and all this killing and stuff going on. If the churches were in the community more, all this stuff wouldn't be happening. So I told them, I said, well, it starts in the home. And then they told me, this is what they said. They said, well, when I was coming up, the churches played a vital part in our community with helping with our young people. And I said this. I said, when I was coming up, all we had was the church. All we had was the church. But there are so many other resources today that our young people can go to, but some parents won't take them. Some parents believe everything their child say. The teacher, they get in trouble at school, and they go out and they want to fight the teacher. They don't want to listen to what the teacher got to say. They're going to take their child word for it. And so our children see all of that, and they hear all of that. It's like I was listening to Todd Mickens' podcast this morning, and he was talking about we need to surprise our children at school. Those of us who have children in school, don't let them know when we're coming, and we'll see our real child, because our child can tell us anything. Our child can act like they are an angel at home and be a total different person at school. They can be a person that we won't even recognize if we surprise them. So the moral of the story is, I don't think we should put it all on school teachers. I don't think we should put it all on churches. But I think a lot of stuff could change if the parents of the children will do more parenting at home, instead of, what's the word, justifying everything their child do. Because I love my son. I don't think there's nobody in the world that loved their child any more than I love mine. But when my child was in school, I knew my child. Everybody know their child. So if you know your child, and the teacher call and say, Miss Coleman, your child did this or your child say that, and you know your child talked back to you, why you gonna tell that teacher, no, my child ain't said that? No, my child wouldn't do that. Why you gonna do that? And you know he or she talked back to you. I'm just saying, y'all, we can't fault the school teachers and the churches and the police for what our children do. Yeah, there's some bad police, but there's some good police too. And to be truthful of the matter about it, if I had to be a police, I wouldn't want to be a police, because these young folks these days, they ain't scared of no police. They ain't scared. Police is just another person to them. A police is just another person to them. They ain't scared. Listen, I was at this park and a fight broke out. And here come all these polices. And I'm trying to tell, I ain't even know the kids. I was trying to say, no, don't go up there. I said, don't go up there. I don't care nothing about no police. That's what they were telling me now. I don't care nothing about no police. A police is just a police. That don't mean nothing to me. Loretta Coleman got her keys in her pocketbook and left. When those young boys told me that, it wasn't nothing for me to do but leave. Cause see, bullets don't have no eyes, and I had to get out there. But that's what we're dealing with. So what do we do, y'all? Y'all talk back to me. What do we do? I'm out in the community. I hear young people. I see young people, and it's not all young people. We got some very good young people. We got some excellent young people. I'm passing by a park now that's loaded with teenage guys playing basketball. Now, it's 2:30, but guess what? At 10 o'clock, there was about 200 kids out there, under 18, playing basketball. Why weren't they in church? That's my question. Now, am I being too hard? Y'all help me if I'm wrong. Why weren't they in church? Every Sunday morning at this particular park, anywhere between 9 and 11 o'clock, is packed with about 200 or 300 kids. When I was coming up, it wasn't an option where I was going to be at Sunday morning at 11 o'clock. As a matter of fact, at 10 o'clock, we were going to be in Sunday school. We didn't have a car. We had to walk to church. We had to walk down that dirt road, walk about 25 minutes until we got to church. But guess what? At 10 o'clock, we were there and we was ready for Sunday school. I was talking to this parent, and they said to me, I asked them about one of their children. I said, I haven't seen them in a long time. Are they coming to church? I don't know. I'm going to have to ask them, do they want to come? And hear me, Loretta Coleman, with her mouth. I said, what do you mean you going to ask them, do they want to come? They ain't but 14 years old. And they said to me, if they don't want to go, I'm not going to make them go. That was the end of that discussion for me. There wasn't nothing else for me to say. Now, does church make you better? Most of the time it do. It might not make you better at that moment. It might not make you better 2 months from now, a year from now, but some way or another, you're going to think about something that was said in that church service to help you. You're going to think about something that your mom and daddy told you, something that your mom and daddy taught you. Somewhere along the road, you're going to think about it. I think a lot of principles that our parents had back in the day, we need to bring them back. But some of the parents today, they don't care. They don't care what their children do. They don't care what they do. They don't care where they go. They don't care how they act. They're going to justify everything that their children say. They're going to justify everything their children do. And they're going to do that. And they're going to keep doing that. And that child know, well, I got mama wrapped around my finger. I got daddy wrapped around my finger. So what can we do as a community? We can't go up to nobody's child in church. Like when I was coming up, if I sneaked out of church and a grown person came out of church and I was out there, they would get me and bring me back in. But you don't dare put your hands on somebody's child now. Something just that simple. You going back in church. You let me put my hands on somebody's child and say you supposed to be in Sunday school. It's just, I don't know. Somebody said something. Let me see. I can't see. Let's see here. That was the way your mother raised you. You're right, Catherine. That was the way my mother raised me. You're absolutely right. I'm not saying that everybody should raise their children like my mother raised me. I'm not saying that. But what I'm saying, some of the things that happened back in the day, we need to bring it back to incorporate it. Because it's something gone seriously wrong. And Portia said that where the problem is in the parents trying to be the kids' friend. Hey Malcolm, how you doing? You're absolutely right, Portia. I don't get into this debate because of this debate, but I don't agree with it. I don't agree with it. A child is not your best friend. A child is not your best friend. Your child may be able to talk to you about anything, but your child is not your best friend. Your child is your child. That's the way I feel about it. But I hear people say, my daughter is my best friend. My son is my best friend. That I don't agree with that. But that's my belief. You can't be a parent and a friend at the same time. You can be a parent that your child is not afraid to tell you anything. Your child is free to tell you anything. But I think there's a big difference between being a friend and being a mother. Now, that's just my opinion. And like I said, that's Loretta Coleman's opinion. Like the lady told me off a few moments ago. She said, that's how my mama raised me. But I think I turned out pretty good. I made errors. I made mistakes. I did things that I didn't have no business doing. But thank God I went back to the same principles that my mom and daddy taught me. When my mom and daddy used to tell me stuff when I was in high school, I thought they were the meanest parents in the world. When my mom and daddy wouldn't let me go out when I was in 11th grade and everybody else was going out but me, I thought they were the meanest parents in the world. And I said, I'll be glad when I can get out of this house and get on my own. But then, when my child started doing the same thing that I did, I understood what my parents were saying. When my child did the same thing, I understood everything my parents was saying. See, if you don't have children, a lot of times you can't understand what your parent was trying to tell you. But I thank God for what they sowed in me. And I'm not going to take that back. I thank God. Carl Green said, can't do what we used to do, raise these kids. People like to fight, Miss Loretta. What you mean? Are you talking about your child fighting a parent? Or is that what you're talking about? Can't do what we used to raise these kids. Explain yourself, Carl Green. Because if I ever would have, I don't have but one son. But if he would ever hit me, he'd went to jail. Point blank. Because I'm not going to have nobody that I birthed to hit me and fight me as the mother. I'm not going to tolerate that. And even though he's grown and married now, he's going to respect me because I birthed him. And he knows that. And I don't have that problem with him. Thank you so very much, Trish. Thank you so very much. I appreciate that. But we all stand to, we got to look. What can we do to make a difference? Some of us may not have no children. But some of us know how to be mothers to other people's children when their mothers are not real mothers to them. Now, let me explain what I'm just saying. We got some young people that got children that don't know how to be mothers. All they did was had them. They don't know the proper way to be a mother. So they're doing the best that they know how to do. But what I want to say is there are so many resources. If you don't know how to do things, if you're having a problem with your child, they are free resources. Free resources for you. If you're listening to me and you're having a problem with your child and you don't know what to do, Call your local governor's office. They got a list of programs that they will send you where you can participate in, where you can enroll your child in. Not no juvenile justice center, but they got a list of programs that's free and that's available for parents who are having problems with their children. But what we do, we have resources, but we won't take advantage of the resources. We won't take advantage of the resources. It's just like, let me see what she said. Meaning when you're trying to correct others, you can't. Oh yes, ma'am, you are absolutely right. You cannot correct nobody else's child. You can't do it. You cannot do it. If you go in the bathroom at church or school and they got a small child, 4 or 5, got a roll of toilet tissue, just throwing it all over the thing, and you tell them you know better than doing that, they go out and tell their mama, that lady said something to me. Well, 9 times out of 10, that mama ain't gonna come and say what you said to my child. They gonna say, don't say nothing to my child. That's my child. That's my child. You don't have a right to say anything. And see, our kids see and hear these kinds of things. Our kids pay attention to us when we don't even think that our kids are paying attention to us. Our kids hear everything we say. They pay attention to how we react to things. They pay attention to what we say on that telephone. I had this conversation with somebody this morning. That young people don't want to go to church because you sit home and you run down the pastor and you talk about Sister Sue and Sister Jane, Brother Henry, Brother John. How you gonna want your child to go with you to church when you done had conversations about what's happening in the church in front of your young children? We got to be careful what we say. We got to be careful how we act. We got to be careful. Listen, when I was growing up, my mom and daddy had company. We had to, if it was pretty like today, we had to go outside because we couldn't engage in grown people conversation, or either we had to go to the back room. Nowadays, parents allow their kids to sit in the same room and engage in grown people conversation, and it's not helping our children. It's not helping our children. We let them hear everything. We let them do anything, and it's just getting uncontrollable. It's just getting uncontrollable. And see, they won't ask me to be on no panel to talk about stuff like that, because the first thing I'm gonna tell them, it's got to start in your house. Now let me straighten something out before somebody else tell me off like that lady did. I know some parents did the very best they could. Some parents gave it 100%, and they still having problems with some of their children. So I'm not talking about those who gave their best. I'm talking about those who are not giving their best. That's what I'm talking about. Those who choose to overlook that my child may do some things that I don't know about when I'm not around. That's the people that I'm talking about. A lot of young people talk to me, and one thing, I pretty much have an answer to just about everything they talk to me about. But one young girl said, from the time I was 5 and to the time that I was 18, now y'all listen to this, my mama had 15 different boyfriends that lived in our house. There wasn't nothing I could say to her. But she said by the time, she said from the age of 5 years old until I was 18, my mama had 15 different men that lived with us that were her boyfriend. What signal did she send to her daughter? 15 different men lived in their house from the age of 5, and this has just messed me up, until she was 18. I couldn't tell her nothing. There wasn't nothing that I could tell her. They want nothing, and that's exactly what I told you. I said, I can't help you with this one. I can't, I don't know what to tell. So these are things that I hear. And if you want to hear some stories from some young people in your area, volunteer and go to the local children's shelter, Department of Juvenile Justice. Volunteer and go and be a counselor, and you're going to hear some stories that will really disturb you. I had to stop from going. Matter of fact, they stopped me from going because you can't get too attached to the kid. That's one of the rules. And I was getting too attached. But most of the stories that they said was, I acted out. I did the things that I did. Hey, John, all is well. And I did the things I did because I was trying to get my mama's and daddy's attention, but they wouldn't listen. I acted out. Only thing I wanted to hear my mom and daddy say was that I love you. And see, a lot of times men think that it's cowardly to say I love you to a son, but that's not a coward. That's been a real man. And I'm telling you, if you think I'm lying, go to your local Department of Juvenile Justice. Just volunteer for a day and just listen to the stories of those young people. Make your heart break. I'm telling you, it'll make your heart break. That's why it's important when you come in contact with a person, say, I love you. Say, there's somebody who loves you. You have some people, nobody never tell them that I love you. Now, see, John Lincoln just told me he loved me. That means a lot to me. John is a very popular young man, but he's so manable and he's humble, and I appreciate him and I believe him when he tells me that. Sometimes the only thing people need to hear is that I love you. God loves you. Just that simple. You don't have to preach to them. That lights up some people's day. That lets them know that they are not alone. But sometimes we're so busy with everyday chores, everyday situation, everyday circumstance. We can have some people sitting right in our midst that's contemplating suicide, but we're so busy we don't pay them any attention. That's the way life is today. We're so busy we can't recognize the signs. And one of the things that really bothers me, and then I'm going to get off, we react when there's trouble in the community. When somebody is murdered or somebody is raped or something like that, we react. We want to have town hall meetings. We want to have rallies and stuff like that. Well, what do we do? What do we do every day? Why do we have to wait until there's a tragedy? Why do we have to wait to do outreach? We can do outreach every day. If we did outreach every day, it would eliminate some of the things that's going on. But we got this church doing this, and we got this church doing that, and we got this church don't want to socialize with this church, and that church don't want to socialize with that church. When I was coming up, all churches socialized together. Fifth Sunday Fellowship is what it was. It eliminated a whole lot of problems. But we can't even come together. We saying when all God's children get together, what a time. How we going to get together in heaven and we can't even get together down here? This is real talk, y'all. Some people may not agree, and that's fine. You have your opinion, but this is real talk. We can't get along down here. We can't come together down here. We can't get along on our jobs. We can't get along with our families. Some of our family members, we can't do this. We can't do that. Have it ever occurred that it might be you? I just told somebody this morning, I asked the Lord to help me every day. Because, see, I know I got some ways, and I know sometimes I can be short. So I have to realize my error in myself before I point the finger at anybody else. But what can we do, people? We got to come together. We got to do something. Don't wait till something happens to react. React every day. If it's simple, you going to pump gas at a gas station, and a young boy, and I'm going to use a young boy with long dreads, droopy pants, opens the door or slam the door in your face or whatever. Just say, hey, young man, I love you. He may say thank you, or he may do like that. So what? Or he might push you out. He might do any of that. But you still planted a seed. You might not ever see that person again. But guess what? He gonna think about what you said. He or she is gonna think about what you said. But see, we'll see somebody with dreadlocks and what you call them, baggy pants coming, and we'll want to cross the street. You'll see somebody with a suit on, and it won't faze you. But don't you know that person with that suit on can be just worse than that person with them dreadlocks and them saggy pants? We stereotype people. We stereotype people. We stereotype people from on our jobs, in our churches, everywhere. We stereotype people. And we have what we need right in our midst, but we won't use it. So as I close this live, I just want to say to you all, especially the parents that have young children, they are resources for you. They are resources for you. There's all kind of resources. You can get on Google. You can put in resources for young children. You can call your local governor's office, and when the person answers the phone, all you got to do is say, I'm looking for free resources that I can enroll my young children in. And they got all of that, but we won't utilize them. For some reason, we won't utilize them. But there is help for that child. Don't throw your child away, but don't justify everything that child do either. Let me see what I just say. Don't justify everything your child do, but at the same time, you got to love that child. You got to sit down and have conversations with that child. You got to ask your child about the school day. You got to ask your child what happened at school. You got to sit down and talk to them. And all of us know our children. We can tell when they're telling us a lie. If we begin to ask questions, we will know if our children is lying or not. Have conversation with your children. Have conversation with them. Sit at the dinner table. Don't let them come home, go right to their room and get on that computer and play games and get on that cell phone. Make them have conversations with you. You can find out a lot of stuff about your child by a simple conversation. You can find out a lot. And when I say lot, I mean a whole lot about your child if you just have a simple conversation with them. I'm telling you now. I'm telling you what I know. Hold on a minute. Can I have a large hot coffee with 2 creams, 4 Splendors, and French vanilla flavor? That's all.
Large hot coffee with 4 creams?
2 creams, 4 Splendors, 4 Splendors, 4 Splendors, and French vanilla flavor.
And what was that flavor?
French vanilla.
French vanilla. And 2 cups of it?
1 will be enough.
Alright, anything else for you today?
That's it.
Okay, just one there.
Lord have mercy. But you know, that's what I'm saying, y'all. And you know, just be a little mindful of those conversations you have around kids, because they are listening. They are listening. And I think what I was saying before I went to the window is, when your child come home from school, just don't let them go in that room and play them games and get on that cell phone. Make them have a conversation with you. Ask them about each course that they took. What did y'all do in this course today? What did y'all do in this course? What did y'all discuss? What did you learn? What's going on? What kind of events do you have going on? You know, some of us don't do that. And that's why that child do what they do, because some of us don't ever check on our children at school. We don't ever go nothing. They could tell us anything. They could tell us anything. They could tell us anything, because we don't follow up. We don't ask questions. Don't you know that they have emails where they can send the homework and everything. Well, then you can add your email where everything they send the child, it will come to you. And the reason I know that, because I've been helping this lady who is having problems with her grandson. And so now when they send him an email, she automatically gets it. She automatically gets it. That's another way you can stay in touch with what your child is doing. Because in reality, ladies and gentlemen, they can tell us anything and we won't even know it. Some of us need to volunteer to the schools. Go and volunteer. They need help. They need people to volunteer. And I'm just trying to plead, because it's not enough for us to talk about the problem. Okay, it's not enough for us to talk about the problem, but we got to do something. We got to do something. Don't depend on the teachers. Don't just depend on the churches. Don't just depend on the police officers. But we got to do our part. Each one, thank you. Each one reach one. Each one reach one. We got to reach somebody other than our family members. There are some parents out there that need mentors for their children. Can I have some napkins? They need mentors. Now, this is the best coffee in the world to me. Dunkin' Donuts. Thank you. But each one, if there's a child in your neighborhood that's a single parent, befriend them. Of course, you got to be careful who you befriend, and you got to ask the parent first, because let me tell you what I did for Christmas. I was told about this family. She had 2 girls, and the mother was working 2 jobs, and she had fell behind. Hey, Devon. She had fell behind on her bills, and she was working 2 jobs. So her children didn't get anything for Christmas. They were 12 and 13. So what the young girls did from next door, when they opened their gift, they gave each one of them one of their games that they had, because they had an abundance of stuff. So because those 2 kids didn't get anything, they chose to give them 2 games. So when the neighbor told me about it, I said, well, you asked the mother, is it okay if my ministry buy those children some things for Christmas? Because I would take them to the store and I'd let them get what they want, up to $150 a piece. She told me no. She said, I don't want them to have anything, and I don't want to take nothing from nobody. And so I said, did you ask her, well, what about the kids? What about the kids? How do they feel? She said no. So I could not go over that child. I could not go over that mother's head. But, all that has to do with, I offered. That's all I could do was offer. It was left up to the mother. But then I couldn't understand. I don't know her reasoning. I couldn't get upset with her. But I do what those 2 other kids did. I thought that was wonderful, that they shared what they had with the other child. But, we got to be mindful of things like this. Our pride may not let us take from somebody, but you got to think about, how do my child feel? How do they feel? God may have sent me to be the answer to get the child some clothes and stuff for Christmas. But then you as a parent, you don't want no help from nobody. You thinking about your pride, but what about the children? It's just a lot of stuff that we have to put in perspective. It's a lot of stuff, y'all, that we as adults have to put in perspective. Because just because we are the parents, and I'm a parent, so I can say this, just because we are parents, it don't say that we all the time make the right decision. It don't say we all the time make the right decision. Sometimes we make wrong decisions, and sometimes it costs us. But most of the time, what we tell our children are right. But I just want to encourage those who are having problems with their children, who may have are struggling. I just want you to know that there are people out here that's concerned about you. But whatever you do, utilize the resources that's available for you. White folks do it all the time. I'm telling you what I know, not about what I was told. I'm telling you what I know. They utilize things that's resources that's out there that's free of no cost, but we won't do it because of our pride. And the very thing we need is a resource that's available. So that's what I'm gonna tell you. You know, if your child don't want to talk to you and they want to talk to a counselor, get them a counselor to talk to. Everything that goes on in life, you might can't discuss. Your kid might can't discuss it with you, no matter how close it is. But no matter how close you are, but they are resources, professional resources that can help that situation that they may be in. My heart is bleeding today. I really didn't come on here to be this long, but my heart is bleeding for the young people today, for those who think they're alone, for those who think nobody care, for those who have nobody, absolutely nobody who understand them. My heart is bleeding for you if you're listening. And let us pray for our children. Stop criticizing them so much. Let them know you love them. Let them know that punishment is because you love them. And, you know, just go on from there. That word, those three words are very powerful. I love you. When my mom and daddy used to be beating me with them switches, they would say, I'm beating you, Rat. That's what they call me. I'm beating you, Rat, because I love you. I'm beating you because I don't want you to make the same mistakes I made. That's what I would hear when they would be beating me with a switch. So I'm just challenging those of you. There's always room for improvement. There's always things that we can do to improve. So that's my spiel for today. Let's not wait till trouble comes. Let's not react just when trouble comes. But let's do things. Let's sow little seeds before anything happens. The signs are there, but we got to pay attention to the signs. Pay attention to what that child is trying to say. Pay attention to them. There's always something we can say to comfort that child. That child just need to hear you say, you can make it. You're somebody. But anyway, y'all, thanks for listening to me. And I appreciate it so much. And even for the lady that told me off, I thank you. I realized not one time did I say that my mother was like everybody else's mother. I didn't say that, but that's the way she took it. You know, sometimes when we are guilty, we lash out at things and we don't listen to the message. Not one time did I say that everybody should be like my mother. Not one time. But she told me off. But what I'm saying to you is listen to your children and you'll be glad you did. Have a blessed Sunday, everybody.